Holocaust Memories Never Forget. A Gentile baby boomer's painful journey into the Shoah. Section 6. Brutalste Gewalt. Brutal Violence. Part 15. From the 1st of January 1943 until the end of the war, May 1945. During the last months of 1943, SS Director Himmler was dealing with many issues. Along with the negative effect on SS personnel from the continued German military losses, he was concerned that the prisoner uprisings which had taken place in Warsaw, Treblinka, Białystok, Vilna, and Sobibor would embolden prisoners in other camps to do the same thing. However, the most pressure on him came from Hitler, who was demanding that all of Poland be made Judenfrage, free of Jews, by the end of the year. In late October, tens of thousands of Jewish prisoners were still alive in various labor and concentration camps in the Lublin district of east-central Poland. To honor Hitler's demand, Himmler and his subordinates devised a plan called Aktion Erntefest, or Operation Harvest Festival, which would involve nearly 3,000 German soldiers, SS personnel, SS-trained Ukrainian militia, and German police units. These men would be tasked with the job of executing the remaining Jews at Majdanek, Travniki, and Poniatowa concentration camps. During the weeks leading up to the actual operation, 900 Jewish men at each of the three camps were broken up into three groups, for a total of 2,700 prisoners, then marched every morning to their respective camps' perimeter and ordered to take turns digging zigzag trenches for defense against air raids. The 900 Jewish men who were at Majdanek ended up completing a trench that was over 300 feet long, 7 to 10 feet deep, and up to 10 feet wide. On the 2nd of November, thousands of SS troops and German police arrived in Lublin and prepared for the first part of the Aktion, which would begin at 5 o'clock the next morning. One of the officers at Lipova's 7 subcamp, which held Jewish and non-Jewish Soviet prisoners of war, asked Himmler's aid if they would be ignoring the Geneva Convention regarding treatment of POWs. The answer he received was that all Jews, without exception, will be liquidated. At dawn on the 3rd of November, around 4,000 Jewish prisoners at Majdanek were separated from the non-Jews and taken outside and formed into groups of 100. Each group would eventually be driven in trucks to the trenches, then told to disrobe and lie face down in the ditch. Standing at the edge of the ditch above the Jews was an execution squad consisting of several dozen men selected from the SS, the German police, and the Ukrainian militia. Their job was to quickly shoot these Jews below the nape of the neck and prepare for the next group, which was already being herded like cattle toward them. Not surprisingly, most of these executioners were heavily inebriated before the end of the day. During the executions, several large German trucks outfitted with loudspeakers kept playing painfully loud music, but even this wasn't enough to cover the sounds of gunfire and deathly screams that were being heard by the local Poles, many of whom stood on the rooftops to witness the massacre. At the nearby Lublin airfield labor camp, 600 Jewish men and women were kept alive for cleanup operations later, while the other 6,000 were marched to Majdanek and shot, along with 2,500 Jewish prisoners of war and an unknown number of Jews who arrived from other labor camps. Records indicate that 18,400 Jews died that day at Majdanek, another 6,000 at Travniki, and at Poniatowa the next day, 14,500 Jews were executed. The trenches weren't nearly deep enough, and bodies were spilling out at the top, causing even more problems for the Germans. Those who survived the gunshot to the neck were heard screaming and cursing the Germans before being shot again, and 3 women who amazingly survived and slipped out at night were helped by Zagoda, a Polish underground organization run by both Christians and Jews. With Soviet forces driving further and further west into Poland, the Nazis were understandably anxious to destroy any evidence of their crimes, but history has shown that this turned out to be totally impossible. Researchers believe that over 42,000 Jews died during this Aktion based on records that have surfaced since the war ended.